What's up, SASSy gamers? Today is July 29th, 2021, and I'm here with Brian, Bruno, and Kelly.
What's
and
up,
this
guys?
is
What up?
Got Our Attention Podcast, Season 2, Episode 7. And you guys heard it
I can
right.
start playing It Takes Two right now, but we'd probably get DMCA takedown.
Yeah.
As multiple people right before we start said, hit it.
Yeah, well, hit the music. Hit it.
Hit the music.
Guess not. He doesn't want to. He's just gonna not now.
What? I mean, like, you can't just kick right into things. You've got to warm up the audience and talk and
Let's
get
talk.
them
Let's
ready.
hit it
I did. I talked.
Has it been a week? Has it
Has
been
it
a week?
I don't
Mike?
think so. I don't think it has.
Oh my God. No,
It
that's
hasn't
not
been
the
a week
talking
this
we
time?
want to talk about because
Yeah.
it's been a week.
Yeah.
You want to try that again since you want to rush right into things?
What am
Mr. Host,
What
you
am
gonna
I
try
doing?
that again?
What am I doing? I already told you to hit
no
the music. It's over.
I'll do it for you. Ding 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 ding. ding.
Different music.
That's definitely the wrong music.
Cheers to that one. Thanks.
So yeah, it is season 7 or season 2, episode 7. I've already jumped 7 years in the future.
So that's why I was wondering why you're asking me to hit the music when you're talking about the season and stuff.
You're
Because
like
I already
that
said
guy
this
that-
has got our attention podcast. I already said it, and that's usually
Right?
where
No,
cue the
that's
music.
Kelly's Corner. Where have you been the last 2 weeks? That's Kelly's Corner music.
I've got my own corner.
No, I
man.
know that's not the music I was referring to.
No, that music doesn't play here.
Well, you could have played it. You could have done it. You have the capabilities. You played it earlier. I figured
No.
you were going to play it now.
The whole point is that music starts and you say, "What's up, sassy gamers?"
Yeah,
at the end
but
of that music. So
that's-
I wouldn't play that when you're.
That's
you're
why.
very confused.
That's why I said after I talk, when are we going to play the music? And you were like, "You'll have
when you
to just
introduced
say
the
it."
bit.
And I did. I said,
When you
play the music."
that you're
Oh,
terrible
man.
at this.
If
Bruno, you want to be the new host?
the ones that are listening, he has played music for the stream. Like, you guys don't hear it in the recording.
I
He
don't,
plays it at the right
because-
place, but
As
What are
brutal
you
as it
talking
is,
about?
I
It's in
kind of
every
enjoy
recording.
watching Mike fail.
It's-
I feel like it's a staple of the podcast. Is the small
I only
details
fail
that he
because you guys
misses.
are set up. You set me up to be failure.
You
you set us up
yourself
to
up.
make
And
fun
you
of
also
you
don't
for
accept
failing.
responsibility. So
Well, yeah, why would I do
So-
that?
Yeah,
The-
where's your accountability?
It's not
So
here.
the music has existed in the recordings, both the audio and the video recording, for longer than you guys could hear them live. It was only that you heard them live for the first time the last 2 weeks. And the intro music is always
If you
before you
wouldn't have
start
played
talking.
the intro music before today's show, I wouldn't have thought that you were going to play that in the show. So
the intro
you
music's
threw me
never in the
off.
show.
You threw me off. So,
I just do Kelly's Corner.
and with
news,
that, we should just move into
news
Kelly's corner.
fast.
then with that. All right.
Now that's how you introduce a bit.
Wow.
Thanks, guys. As Chad
We're off to
says,
the
yes.
races already.
We were
It's
really good
terrible.
at on-air arguing. All right, for Kelly's Corner, I ran across a Vice article that was talking about this private company called Nav Canada is basically responsible for all of the in-air stuff.
This one's for
They
you, Bruno.
control air. Well, it wasn't
Trash.
intentionally for Bruno, but so they control all the towers and radar installations. They have been withholding information about UFOs. When asked to provide information, they say, no, we're a private company. We don't have to. We give it to the government, for what
Those
we're
dirty
supposed to do.
bastards.
Yeah. But by law, all aircraft, if they see something weird, if they see something malicious in the sky, they have to report it to Nav Canada.
Malicious.
Yeah, malicious. So some of the things that have been reported are white flashing lights moving above 60,000 feet.
Zycia sees that every time he goes out and drinks at the bar.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
Every time.
Not every time.
Not every time, yeah.
the Nav Canada tower staff saw some objects that appeared to be moving too fast for any commercial aircraft, and it was one solid bright light. That instance actually delayed an Air Canada Jazz flight. They were waiting for the object that was well to the
As
east of
someone
the
who's
aircraft.
flown Air Canada Jazz,
Yeah.
that is not what delayed that flight. I'll tell you right now.
It's like Spirit Airlines.
I don't hate on Spirit. I like Spirit.
So some of those planes are not maintained even as well as Spirit Airlines planes. So believe me, what delayed that flight was the missing wing that they had to attach before it took off again.
Wow.
Well, and they probably were like trying to get the captain out of the bar as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, especially Spirit Airlines. I mean, what do you think they call it Spirit Airlines for?
Because they suck the soul out of you while you're flying with them.
Yeah.
Well, that and most of the crew is currently pickled from the amount of alcohol.
I like Spirit. I don't know why you guys
Are you
hate on
okay?
Spirit
Well,
so much.
you
Are you
in
going
the
to say that you
minority.
like Frontier next?
I don't like Frontier, but I don't mind it. It's okay. It's just
I mean, it was
They're-
Kelly who just taught me recently that the lady from Delta is called Delta Lena on
Delta Lena.
online, which I didn't know.
I
I knew about her.
I don't
It was hilarious
like
that when I talked about her, that Kelly immediately knew who I was
American
talking
Airlines.
about.
American
I
Airlines is
expected-
terrible.
I expected you to have better standards. But okay.
Well, moving on. So that it supposedly then, I guess, delayed that one flight, waiting for the object to disappear into the distance, into the sunrise or.
Oh, hey, do you see that flashing light over there, bud?
Yeah, so
It's terrible.
there's
That was
a
terrible.
recent May 9th incident where a Delta Airlines flight was going from Alaska to Minnesota, and they were asking Nav Canada, hey, what's that thing that's flying above us?
Hey, Bruno, can you say that? Can you be the guy that's asking the question?
Say what, sorry?
Say what Kelly's about to say in,
Okay.
In Canadian.
What's that thing flying above us?
They said they wanted to see what that thing flying above them and moving to the left and right was while they were over Saskatchewan. Hey,
I think you broke him. I think
I did.
Bruno, you still there?
Did I miss something? Are you guys trying
I
to say
wanted you
something?
to say something. Here, I'll
you were
send it.
supposed to be the Delta pilot
Yes.
asking, "What's that thing flying above us
Well,
that's moving
actually,
left to right
you know
as we
what?
go over
No, 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 no,
Saskatchewan?"
You know,
It
you know what?
immediately
No,
makes
want
sense.
me
no,
to
because
be-
you know what? That pilot was probably an American pilot there, but because they were flying from Alaska to Minnesota, so therefore, I
Listen,
don't think Bruno.
Here's the thing. If you're flying from
Accent's
Alaska to
gonna be
Minnesota,
appropriate.
it doesn't matter if you're American. You're probably already more Canadian than Canadians are, if we're being completely honest. Because if you're going to
Yeah.
Minnesota
Yeah.
or Wisconsin or anything, you're like an honorary Canuck at the very least. So he probably was like, "Oh yeah, what's that there flying over top those mountains, eh? Well, that's pretty weird, bud. You guys see that right there, right over there? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a weird one. Somebody should tell him back at base that there's what is that thing? What is that thing? Yo, bud, take a look out the left one. You see that? You see that over there? Yeah. Ain't that just something?
Bruno just went from 0 to 700 miles an hour in half a second.
I don't know
and
what
see,
you're talking about, bud. I'm talking the exact same way that I always do, okay? So I'm going to need you to just take a seat and let this entire conversation just marinate on you for a second or two, okay?
At least you aren't telling me all the signs have to be in English and French. So,
Oh man.
That's true.
What's French?
see, speaking like a true Canadian.
We don't take too kindly to that kind of stuff around here, bud. All right? Pitter patter.
Oh man. We're getting crazy.
Well, so that with that,
Kidding?
so Bruno's impression actually kind of does express the way it seems like Canada feels about UFOs, because the United States has been very vocal about, okay, you know what? We think they're real. And you know what? We're doing some research on it. And we're going to figure this out. We got our finger on the pulse. We're going to do it. And Canada's like, yeah, we've got it. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah.
That's it.
There's
just don't
a
think they
thing,
care.
See, It always comes back
Yeah.
to this whole thing about people thinking Canadians are like really nice. But Canadians are just reserved. They just don't care to say anything about anything.
Yeah.
And they could probably watch a UFO land and be like, well, that's going to make our day a little bit more difficult, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just ignore it for now until it actually becomes a problem. And then we'll take her from there. Just 1 foot forward at a time. And when the time comes, we'll be ready or we won't. And it won't matter anyways.
I might start crying.
I have a tear in my eye. It's
Don't shed any tears for UFOs, okay, bud? It's going to be okay. You just take a load off, relax a little bit. We're going to make it through this all
so
in one
good at
piece,
it.
bud.
Oh.
Don't you even worry. Not
One
for a
day,
minute.
we're going to have to do an entire podcast with you speaking with your Canadian
I think
accent.
that was
the
a
problem
bet
with that
we
is-
had
is,
before.
Is eventually if I use this accent for too long, I won't be able to shut it off for a while, and then my wife's going to get real upset. She's going to ask me to do something, and I'd be
don't
like,
want your
no,
wife
listen up,
upset.
babe.
It'll
I'm
be our
totally
fault."
game for giving you a hand with that, but I'm going to need about 10 to 15 minutes to finish up with this video game that I'm playing. And she's going to be like, well, now, why in the hell are you talking like that? And I'm going to be like, I don't know. This is just how we talk.
Why in the hell are you talking like that now?
Oh man.
Let's shut it off now, okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next.
So, how do you guys feel about UFOs, though? It's part of the reason why I brought this article up is I
I'm
did want to
indifferent.
get.
All in
Yeah.
all.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm like, they probably exist.
I think they exist.
Yeah.
Do you
why
think
not?
they're really visiting us?
I mean, I don't know if they're visiting or
The fact
living
that
here.
we've seen it, but they haven't made contact makes me think it's more plausible. Because it means that they are, in fact, a more intelligent life form. Because they came all the way here and they were like, we're not going to communicate with these idiots.
Yeah.
We're just going to look at them, and then we've assessed them, and we're going to leave. Which proves that they would be an intelligent life form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
well,
role.
I mean,
But they keep
comment.
coming back. So that's.
Well,
Well, you
Think of it
always
sus.
want to watch trash reality TV, right? It's super popular.
think of it that we're just
They're here
the
for 90
great
day.
apes on the other side of the glass at the zoo.
yeah.
you should,
And they
you
just
should
keep
scrap
coming
grape.
by and looking and laughing at us. And then they'll show us magic tricks and we'll freak out at the magic trick and they'll laugh and
Yeah.
they'll move on.
I just like
You
the
know.
comic where it's like the alien ships going by Earth and they're like, lock the doors.
No, they go, lock the doors.
Yeah.
Lock the door. You can't say it loudly. even
My
if you
wife's
can't hear
super
them.
into the whole UFO conspiracy theories.
Oh, yeah?
I also think that there's always a possibility. It's just like random government stuff that they just
Yeah.
don't tell you. Because, you know, the rule of thumb is, or the rule of thumb has always been, to my knowledge, that anything that the United States shows military-wise is at least 10 years of obsolescence.
30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30.
So if they're showing us jets that can break the sound barrier like 5 times over, then they've probably got stuff that could go way faster than that.
We already cracked this case. We already talked about it. They've replaced all the birds with drones.
That's true. That's
Oh, man.
true. It's funny. So that for anybody listening, that was a conspiracy theory that I brought up last week on Kelly's Corner.
Weather balloons.
A couple weeks ago.
My husband and I were sitting outside. I think it was either yesterday or today, and there was a bird that was chirping that was like kind of gurgly, and I was like, that robotic bird needs its voice box replaced. We should
If you
probably
want to
call the
see
government and let
something
them
that
know.
is a bird that is not robotic, that is confirmed not to be robotic, just look for some Canadian geese. There's no
No.
way that any human can engineer something that truly terrible.
It's true.
They are.
It is what
awful.
it is, spawned from the deepest depths of hell, created to torment the world. Canadian geese,
That's funny
a
that
national treasure.
Yes.
we saw a pigeon the other day too, and I was like, "Yeah, I think it's coming right up to me." And my wife was like, "Yeah, because it's it's a drone."
It was scanning you,
it's a
kind of
drone.
like you scan people in Two to Tango.
Yeah,
Yes.
man, that's great.
All right. Chat saying that they're all weather balloons.
Yeah, weather
I mean, if
balloons.
weather balloons can move back and forth really fast, oh God, Bando, maybe.
Maybe.
It was
There you
half
go.
deflated and the wind was rushing across it and it looked like it was going across back and forth because the part that you saw was the reflection moving back and forth across the face of it.
Oh, well. Outsmarted again, Kelly.
Wow. Next,
You're
we should
right,
do,
oh God, Bando.
we should do a Mike's Corner where we just talk about math. That'd be great.
Let's do
Oh God, that would be. I mean,
that. Amen.
you were handy in math the other night.
Yes, you were, because I had a lot to drink and
Bruno was
had a
giving me the
lot
answers.
of people talking to me. So that's true.
I got you. I got you. Always, baby.
Yeah.
Always.
All right. So the U.S. government is saying space tourists are not astronauts.
Good.
They have the qualifications are coming from the Federal Aviation Administration, and the FAA says the qualifications are to qualify for your FAA commercial space astronaut wings. You must 1, have the appropriate flight crew qualifications and training, have flown beyond 50 miles above the Earth on a licensed launch, and have demonstrated activities during flight that were either essential to public safety or contribute to human space flight safety. 2, your contribution to commercial human space flight merits special recognition.
Yeah, honestly, good. Good.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Good.
Yeah.
Because if Jeff Bezos walked around being like CEO, entrepreneur, astronaut, I'd be like, I mean, part of that word suits you, but not the entirety of it.
No.
We're not in any shape or form an astronaut.
Yeah.
Like, I think of astronaut, I think of somebody who goes up to space, stays there for a while, do like scientific studies, things that actually matter, and not someone who's so rich that they could probably in like 10 years from now fly their entire yacht into space and retrofit it to like have a cruise.
Yes. Awesome cruise. No.
I'm a little bitter.
Yeah.
I'm just against gatekeeping. Damn it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'll gatekeep this. I'll put a gate in space, go up there, and still not call myself an astronaut, and I'll keep it.
Oh man.
I will keep it there. Yes. Okay. So, so the super rich people who are buying tickets definitely not going to be qualifying for becoming, astronauts. And the article did reference, how this is really going to be a huge blow to the egos of Bezos and Branson. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, well, they'll just have to dry their tears with their billions of dollars that they still have left after funding entire space programs out of their own pocket.
I believe. I believe the term they used for these rich people going to space is castronauts.
Yes, castronauts. Yes, I definitely should have mentioned that. Thanks, Mike. They're called castronauts. They said the better term would be castronaut. All that money. And the last that I had for you is that there is a house in Texas. I think it's in Fort Worth. Is super crazy. It's going for $1 million. It looks like a house on the outside, but when you start beautiful doors, great windows. When you take a look at the Zillow pictures inside, it looks like it was an office or something.
Whoa.
Yeah. Generators, like ceiling tiles, stuff like that. Super crazy. It's in an actual neighborhood. It's got real people living around it. We were kind of talking a little bit before the podcast. We're like, what? Brian offered to buy it for the podcast. We'd all have to move to Texas, but we could have some really amazing game nights there.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to move to Texas.
No.
Unfortunately.
I did say that was the unfortunate part.
Yeah.
It was in Dallas. Oh, like I don't necessarily mind moving to Texas.
Yeah, no offense to anybody who lives in Texas.
Dallas.
Yes,
Dallas
no offense to anyone in Texas.
I'm not.
Dallas is a little humid for me.
It's really humid here right now.
Yeah, it's like
Right.
100
Yeah, I
degrees.
don't like
stepped
it here
outside?
either.
That's true.
I mean, to be fair, I don't like it where I live right now.
yeah.
My main problem with the Dallas Fort Worth area is just vast amounts of humidity and heat, more than anything else.
This is definitely
Also,
hot.
four-wheeling's not really great there because there's not too much the concept of public land. But
Yeah.
that's because of the history of the state, and that's not really the people's fault.
Four-wheeling is definitely better here. There's plenty of places to go.
Not doing it.
Right,
Not
well-
going to Texas.
You're not doing it?
Not to Texas.
You're not going to go? Okay. You're not invited,
So,
so.
you're
Good.
moving to Texas?
No,
Sick. All right,
Canadian.
Mike's moving to Texas.
I'm going to Canada.
Okay.
Good luck.
What's this roundabout about?
Good luck.
Good luck. Good luck, Mike.
Thanks.
Won't see you there.
Well, with that, it's time to get into the news.
So official.
Look how proud he was when he did that. He was like,
I was proud for you.
I announced the bit.
I leave for 1 week and so
Look
much
what happened.
changed. Like,
Yeah.
what an intense intro. I was like, are we going to war? Like,
Yeah.
do I need to grab my axe off the wall? Like, what?
This just in.
Hey, again, I could always do the Southern Rock.
Oh, God. No. Stop. Don't do that.
That was so fun.
Oh, man. So.
Wow. Okay. Well, at least we
Yeah, well,
at least we
talking about
started.
change.
At least we started kind of happy when we're jumping in and we're giving an update on the terrible news that has been going out the last couple of weeks with the Activision Blizzard
Real quick.
lawsuit.
I want to say a disclaimer. We are not going to spend a whole hour or so on this like we did last week. I know a lot of people were.
We could just talk about for 15 minutes and not have to say that.
We're going to do that.
So anyway, oh my God, like,
Yes.
stop explaining everything.
I just don't want people to turn off the TV now because, like, oh, this again. Pff, we're out of here.
It's,
Yeah.
I mean, we literally would have been about done by now. Just some quick updates since it is affecting so many people and it is something that, is pretty important. So the employees did a walkout yesterday. A lead from Respawn also asked players to not play Blizzard products for July 28th. Hope that went well. I mean, there needs to be more messages to this company. This company, and more importantly, from the COO, had said, hey, this is a baseless lawsuit, and this is based on like old things that happened at Blizzard a long time ago. And the employees and former employees are saying no. In fact, 2,600 of them signed a petition saying, like, this isn't right. Something needs to be done. And yes, this is still a thing. And it's enough of a thing that there has been reports that they're actually going to remove things from World of Warcraft, like names of some of the people who allegedly have been involved with the sexual discrimination of people. And like some of their names appear as NPCs in World of Warcraft. And they are apparently going to work through and scrub out disparaging.
They've actually already started.
Excellent.
Yeah, they're actively doing it. But like, I wasn't here last week, but I'll try and speak on this quick. I think that this is a long time coming.
Yeah.
I think probably out of anybody here, I've probably clocked more hours in Blizzard games, just in World of Warcraft alone. I've played every expansion since Wrath of the Lich King to cap, raided in all of them. Done AOTC for the majority of the raids. I've just played so much of, like, I played thousands of hours of Diablo. I made money off of Diablo, thousands of dollars off of the RMT shop. Like, I've invested a lot of money into them, and I've noticed something over the years is that they've become more and more disappointing in that they've almost become complacent as a company, and where they used to care 10 years ago, they used to care a lot about the content they provided, the atmosphere they created. Now they're kind of just there for the money, and I think this entire scenario just proves that they don't care about their work environment anymore. They stopped caring about the quality of the content they were releasing, and I think it's really interesting because I feel like if you look at the games and look at how they've released games over the years, the quality of their content directly reflects how the company has reacted internally towards its own employees, where they've stopped caring about themselves as a community, just like they stopped caring about their community that plays their games. So I'm hoping that out of all of this, if anything else can come out of this that is good, it's that this sends a message to every other major corporation that's in the gaming industry, and it teaches them that you can't keep doing this. You have to be accountable for how your company acts and the content your company releases, and that the gaming community is done with this repetitive cycle of do wrong, BS apology, do some more wrong, BS another apology and repeat, because it looks like it's not working this time. And if anything shows that, it's the numbers. Final Fantasy XIV did not get as big as it is just because of its own ability to create content. It became as big as it is because it did create content, while the other major MMO in the industry, which is World of Warcraft, stagnated because the company stopped caring about its community and its people. So I guess all I want to say is this is well overdue, and I'm glad that it's finally coming out, and I can only hope that Blizzard actually takes this seriously, or they completely fail and collapse on themselves, as they deserve to if they don't decide to adapt, evolve, and become the company that they should be instead of the company that they are. So, screw you, Blizzard.
Well, the management of Blizzard.
Well, that's who represents everything right now, and obviously the people beneath them don't get a say. So,
well, and I think that's why they signed the petition, is because
they don't believe them.
They don't. Well, and they don't represent them.
Nope.
They're like, the comments that these people made don't represent our feelings and our values and what we believe in.
It's always the same line that they tell, right? We are so enraged and upset by the things that have gone on beneath us, and it's like,
well, because it was even worse this time because it was even worse this time because they flat out said that it wasn't real. It was baseless. It was bureaucrats just trying to like blame them, and they made a statement that it was all literally false. So it was even worse. It wasn't even an apology.
No, they don't apologize. They just avoid apology. They express outrage without ever admitting fault, just like they did with their previous PR disaster. And before that, they just it's their MO. They just say, we are so angry that people do this stuff, but it's not us. It's never us, but we're angry nonetheless. It's like, okay, cool. Go make Overwatch 3.
Yeah.
Losers.
I'll play it when it comes out after Cyberpunk 2050,000.
2050,000.
2050.
Is that what you said?
I said that. I did that.
The expansion that's going to fix it all.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Don't worry, the UFOs will come and save us. So. Or just be laughing at us.
I don't know if you said the number. I couldn't remember. Did you actually say the number of how many employees signed the petition?
Yes, 2,600.
Okay, cool.
Current and former employees.
Yeah, so it's a big deal. It's
that's after only days.
Right, and obviously people are still going to be coming out and starting to sign things and start selling more things, because there's a lot of stories that obviously are still being uncovered as we progress with this. So anyway, that's your update for the Blizzard Activision story. Moving on to Xbox news. So we have a few things. So Xbox has actually announced that they're going to be doing, for the 7th year in a row, their Summer Spotlight for 2021. They're going to introduce 75 new games coming to Xbox. They have said that basically they're going to be bringing over 25 new games this year, releasing a whopping 75 titles between July 27th and September 6th. What's more, the Microsoft rewards and gift card combos were so popular last year, they're going to be bringing those back, along with some other popular sections in the Microsoft movies and TV. As an added bonus, they said if you spend $50 on eligible titles, you'll actually get 5,000 Microsoft reward points and a $5 gift card. And they've also got some exclusive launch titles that are coming out as well. So starting with Death's Door, that'll be available, I think, already, potentially. I think this is already out today. And they also have The Ascent, which also dropped, I believe, today in the Xbox Game Pass. So if you go over to the Summer Spotlight, you can check out the titles that are coming. They'll be releasing the names of each of these games per week, I believe. So currently this week, we've got Christ Tales, Splitgate, Samurai Warrior 5, and Last Stop. And Last Stop, I think I talked about last week, and if I haven't, I can talk about it briefly again this week, because I did play it. But it's very fun, so it's something you can check out. So, other Xbox news, we actually have an Xbox announcement, which was put out. And it's unfortunately only those who are in the UK will be able to participate in this new Xbox announcement. But they have announced that they're making a new crossover called the Nexus Level Donut.
I love it so much.
So it's quite
and
funny.
I'm so sad that it's in the UK.
Yeah, it's quite funny. They have like a little trailer for it, and it's like the lead designer, and she's like, talking to the TV, like, this is the next innovation of this thing, and blah 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 blah, and like the curves and the and they start showing like the normal Microsoft green like neon lights as they kind of like product showcase this item, and then it eventually turns into this like round cylinder thing, and it's like, oh, it's a donut. So that is also the announcement for Xbox this week.
That's amazing.
Alrighty. Well, that is the news for this week, at least. And give us just a few minutes here, listen to a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be back to tell you what we've been playing and also our short news for this week. Hang tight. And we're back. We're going to get into what we've been playing this week. So I'll let actually Phoenix and Daydrinker talk about the game of the moment this week, and then we'll comment on it because they actually hosted this week. We actually did something quite interesting. They actually hosted both of them streaming at the same time on the channel. So it was actually dual video, so we could see both perspectives of this game, and I'll let them tell us. Go ahead.
How about you tell it? It was your game, your suggestion, Phoenix. You talk about it first, and then I'll just take over and add it.
No, I had the suggestion, but actually I do want you to speak about it first there, Day Drinker, because it was such a new and interesting thing for you, and you've got a good perspective on this.
So it was an asymmetric game. It was the first asymmetric game I'd ever played. So there are two characters. One is...
What's the game name? I don't think we've mentioned it yet.
I'm sorry, Operation Tango.
There we go.
That's probably helpful. One was the hacker, and then the other was like the infiltrator. So you had what I saw as a hacker and what Phoenix saw as the infiltrator. I may be using the wrong term there.
Agent.
The agent are completely different. So the agent, you're physically there in the office. You're trying to get into the elevator. You're trying to avoid lasers, stuff like that. The hacker hears everything that's going on, and what the hacker is seeing is computerized stuff. The graphics were amazing, though. It wasn't like you're just like sitting at a console.
Surveillance cameras.
Yeah. So access.
Sometimes VR simulated like areas.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty slick.
It was a lot of fun. It's all about communication. So at one point, I started getting frustrated and trying to figure something out. And Phoenix goes, "This is a communication game, Day Drinker. We got to communicate." And I'm like, "Use your words." Yes, you're right.
Tell me what you see.
Yeah. What are you seeing?
That's what I tell my child too. Is use your words.
Mm-hmm. Use your words.
Yep.
That's where I got it from.
Yep. Well, and that's a lot of what this is about, because you don't always see what the other person sees.
Mm-hmm.
And for instance, a lot of us as children have probably played a game called Codebreaker, something like that, where you got little pegs that you put into certain holes. I think they're like white and red, and you only got like 6 holes you put them in or something like that. And there's a screen in between. Almost think of like a Battleship type scenario.
Battleship.
That's a good.
But where you're putting the pegs is like your code, and the other person has to break the code. And what they do is they say, "Well, I think that there's pegs here, 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 here," and you have to say, "Well, okay, you've got X amount in the right position and the right peg, but you've got these other ones, the right pegs in the wrong positions, or you're just completely wrong." And there's different variations of the game, and that was one of many puzzles that we had to do.
Yeah.
But and very much like Codebreaker, I couldn't see the other side. But different from Codebreaker is I didn't really know what the rules were. I only knew my side, or in this case, I had the code. It was 0s and 1s, and I knew that. Day Drinker, she couldn't see what I was doing at all. All she knew was this stuff was coming up on the screen saying, "Well, you got 2 in the correct position and 2 in the incorrect position." She goes, "I have no clue what this means."
I have no idea what's going on. Yeah.
Because she doesn't see me doing the zeros and ones. So I get to tell her what's going on. Like I got zeros and ones and I'm like talking through it with her and painting this picture. It's first person perspective for both characters, although the hacker and even sometimes the agent, it's a little bit different where you're in these virtual worlds. It's an online 2-player game. I think one of the exciting things about it is you can get it for about $15 on Steam.
Yeah.
And if you've got a regular person you play with, only one of you has to buy it. The other one can actually download the free friend pass and join and play the full game, not like a subset, not like X amount of missions. Your friend gets to play for free. And that's a neat little thing about it.
Yeah.
It's the graphics are kind of stylized, kind of 70-ish, but at the same time, it's like future tech and it's like, 2036 or something like that. There's smart glasses. Day Drinker pulled up the old phrase of glass hole several times, which is very accurate. There's literally people sitting around and they're in their own world and they're like swiping things or they're typing like on a virtual keyboard on their arm. And you're right in front of them. They just can't see you, which kind of works for the game because they're just simply NPCs and they're not supposed to react to you anyway. So it makes the programming easier, I guess. Yeah. But it fits the story. We only went through about 3.5 missions, and I don't think we saw a puzzle repeat twice.
Right.
It's not all.
I want to make
some
a
of
point
the puzzles.
Of that. Well, the point I was going to make is, so they played through one of the missions, the first one. I don't know if it was the first mission, but whatever the first one they showed us, it kind of reminded me of a game called Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. It's a game that you can buy on Steam or even on your phone, I think, at some point. You can play it VR or wherever. I'm not trying to get into that much detail, but the point is in that game, one person sits in front of a bomb that has all kinds of different sides and all these different little puzzles that go with it. And then the other people who are the people in the van have a binder. Literally, you can print out like the actual PDF and actually have a binder with all the pages of like the manual of the bomb. So like you have to look through and like figure it out. So I was like, yeah, this seems a lot like that, except it's more interactive because both people have a computer and able to play the game in front of it. And very much so thought that until we saw more missions.
Yeah. Then the cool thing too is you can actually switch. So after you finish a mission, we swapped and I was the agent and Phoenix was the hacker. And then we could see the other perspective and then played the other missions from the other perspective. I'm like, oh, that's what you were saying. Whoa.
Yeah. And to finish off what SASSy was setting up there is that while the thing he saw on the later half of that mission was very much Keep Talking and No One Explodes, that was the only section that was like that. There were other sections that are much more physical where Day Drinker's like, oh, I hacked like as the agent, I like log into this panel and I can see that there's 2 electrical panels over here that are going to open this door. So you need to move the turret laser and shoot those 2 panels. And I can't see them. I'm looking through the camera and I can't see. I can just see the wall and I can see her. And she's like, I'm standing right here. Now you see where my feet are. Now don't shoot me.
Don't shoot me. Except that didn't work every time.
Yeah, I was going to say the reason she said that was because someone did shoot her.
There's actually an achievement for doing that. And she'd be like, it's at my feet and I'm going to move out of the way and shoot at my feet. And then I shot there and it missed. And she goes, no, up. And I shoot. And she goes, no, down, no, up, no, down, left, no, nope. It was quite amusing as she's trying to direct me. And then other puzzles are like in a VR kind of environment where there's these floating cubes and you walk from section to section. They've got these, little paths. And it was interesting because the hacker sees, or at least one side just sees this top-down map of rooms. Like you have to go south and you have to go south and I'm trying to get you to this green room. So it's going to be south, south, east to east, north, east to east. And we're there. Right. And like, it's super easy. And you tell the person, okay, now go straight forward. And they go straight forward. You see them move on the map. And you're like, okay, now turn 90 degrees to your left and then go straight forward. And then they do that. And they went right back up the way they came from. And you're like,
He's like, where are you going? I said,
I didn't
left.
say 180 degrees. I said 90 degrees. And it took us a couple of times, and actually resetting it a couple of times, of like, oh, they're being sneaky. Every time you move from room to room, from your perspective, they change which way you're facing.
Wow.
And so every puzzle that we saw was a different type of puzzle. It took different skills. It wasn't some had math, some were quick thinking, some were like just working through what the logic of that thing was. Some of them were like, keep talking, no one explodes. And other ones were just plain old, hey, look for clues in these employee files and figure out how to get to the next floor.
And sometimes it's like, you're going to do your thing. Well, I'm going to just see what this elevator thing's about. I'm going to go up here and I'm just going to click on random stuff. There was a PC as the agent that Phoenix was at, and he was the very first or second mission. Second mission, you're in a call center. Become a call center agent who came to work very, very early, which never happens. So we're clear. So he's at the PC and just like reading. It's very detailed. It's got real world things. I think one of the things that we saw in the PC was like this communication between the call center agent and the person calling him. They're like, these glasses are crap. They don't even work. I don't even see anything. And the call center agent says, have you turned them on? So there's a lot of humor in it. There's a lot more detailed than I expected there to be. I really look forward to finishing the game.
It looked really neat.
Yeah,
I didn't get to play it necessarily yet, but I'm definitely intrigued. I definitely want to play it. And for $15
and playing it. We should do that up, Mike.
All right, you want to do it?
The dream team.
We'll do the dream team. We're gonna do it faster, better, stronger than you guys.
Well, you already had a leg up because you already saw us playing it.
Doesn't matter.
I'll be Clank. You can be Ratchet.
Yeah, we're gonna create a new game, new levels for just the game, so we can play the new levels.
So probably the last thing I want to say about it is I love the art style. I love the music. I love the whole aesthetics. I love the gameplay. I love all these cool puzzles. I love the interactivity. I love the co-op. It's all great. And I love the fact that you can play both sides and see something completely different. What I'm concerned about is the overall replayability. Now, I'm not super concerned. I've already gotten $15 worth of amusement out of this. That's for sure. It is worth the price of admission, no doubt. I'm just concerned that, it's going to be, we've talked about it before. Phasmophobia has got a lot of replayability because what they decided to randomize. And then other games that we have played that are similar to Phasmophobia didn't have that type of replayability because once you solved the puzzle for that, it was then just an RNG game. Yeah. And you kind of knew what you needed to do, and it wasn't all that much new unless you brought someone new into it. It looked like there might have been some hints of replayability because there were like floors and sections and rooms that were locked off on one of the levels. And it looked like maybe we could come back and unlock them later, but I don't have that for proof yet. Yeah. Or it could just be that they just have them locked off and you can never access them. Yeah. So we'll see about that.
We'll report back.
I enjoy the shit out of this game. Yeah. It's fun.
It is a blast. It really is a blast. And I don't want to play with Mike because I think Mike would get way too frustrated with me. I really enjoyed playing with you.
I don't
Brian,
think that's accurate.
And I will totally play with Bruno. But
wow.
once you finish a mission, just you, man. I'll play with you. I mean, if you're not going to be a jerk about it.
I'm never a jerk.
You're always a jerk.
What? You guys are crazy.
It was like once you finish a mission and you're like, hell yeah, we did it. You're like, yeah. It was like rewarding, and you had this camaraderie and you're like, we did it together. It wasn't like somebody carries the team because both parts are equally weighted.
Bruno's going to carry me.
Yeah. He can't because you're going to pull your weight, man.
Oh, you're talking about the game? Oh, okay.
So that's Operation Tango, $15 on Steam or $16 on Steam, I think. But yeah, and it's also on Xbox. It was one of the free games given away on PlayStation Plus, like about 2 months ago. If you happen to picked it up free on PlayStation, do yourself a favor, go out and play it.
Definitely.
Even with a rando.
Yes,
Fun.
yes.
So
Just make sure you do have to communicate via voice. You
Mm-hmm.
can't communicate via text, so just keep that in mind.
So
Good point.
I didn't play anything new necessarily this week. I'm still playing some Knockout City. I actually learned a couple things. Like me and my brother have been playing, and we were noticing they kept saying like use the curve and spin the ball. And we're like, how do we do that? And so we figured that out, and we're like, oh my god, this changes the game. So along with that, and then passing, like we're just getting a lot better. So that's been a lot more entertaining. And then other than that, I've been playing still Last Stop. Continuing through, I think I've beat the second chapter now. I'm going on to chapter 3. It is getting more interesting as it goes on, as it progresses. So I definitely would say check it out. It's a neat story game. So check that one out. And I think that's all I have. Any of you guys have anything else?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, really quick on the Knockout City. I mean, the more and more that I haven't played it, but the more and more you talk about it, the more and more I hear it's almost like this year's Rocket League.
It's funny you say that. I've been playing League mode, and we're ranking up. It's very much so that same style of competitiveness. It has that same. It doesn't have the exact same magic that I would say like Rocket League has, but it does have a level of excitement when you're playing that it gives you that when you do win, it does feel like an actual like thing that you had to like achieve, so it's fun.
For me, I've been playing I was already playing Aeon, which I told you guys about when we had the Candies catastrophe. Candies with a C. A C. You hear that, everybody? Including YouTube with a C. Flag us. Anyways, I'm still playing that. I've reached endgame. I'm level cap. It's Aeon Classic, so it's the version from 2009, so it's ridiculously grindy. But I'm at endgame. I have all my stuff, and started to get worn out on it, so I went back to something I played a demo of, and I talked a bit on here, which is Swords of Legends Online, which we actually briefly discussed in a story, I think, once before. Probably almost 8 months ago. I think Brian mentioned it as the top MMORPG in Asia. And it finally released in North America and the EU, brought by GameForge. That game has so much stuff in it. I didn't realize how much it had in it. I played like the demo, and it let me go to level 14, and now I'm playing the actual full game. It's wild to me to be playing two MMOs at the same time, one of them from 2009 and one of them modern, and just see the difference. There's like everything in that game. Like I'm not even in the tutorial yet. The tutorial is like level 45, like beginner, and then you finally become a student and you can like prestige to level. I'm still in the tutorial. I've done 3 different dungeons solo. I've done like a team thing. There's like bounties. There's a housing system. Your guild, which is called an alliance there, you can have like a bunch of islands next to each other where you can like gather from each other's islands to do crafting. So like everybody can build their own crazy customized houses, and then you could visit
you said
your clan's
build?
houses.
Oh.
Yeah, like they give you like little pieces and you like actually get to
Mike's
design
ears
your
perked
house
up.
and put things together. So like
I'm listening.
you can put like you can make like farms and stuff for gathering items.
Okay,
and whatever
farms,
told to.
houses, farms. Okay.
So, like-
check.
Like it's crazy. There's so much stuff in it.
Is there wood?
Is there wood?
There is wood. You can gather wood, but it comes from like nodes.
Oh,
But like
man.
the game has just so much, and I feel like I've just scratched the surface of it now. I've maybe put like 5 hours, 6 hours into it, which is very little for
Let me
me when it
go
comes to
look
MMO.
this game up here. See what
But
we
yeah,
got
I'm
going
having as someone who I consider a very good friend of mine would say, I'm having a blasty blast with it. So I'm excited. I'm gonna play more of that, and then maybe a couple weeks from now to like a month, I'll come back and I'll give you my updated statement on what I think it is from when you're at endgame with like everything completed.
Cool. Yeah, that's
all I got.
I'll have to take a look at this one later.
I totally didn't buy the $100 collector's edition.
Okay, I just saw that it had. I saw that it was on there, but I'm glad you did.
Oh, there's also crazy enough. There's no pay to win in this game that I can find. Like their entire
cool.
cash out. They were like, we're not going to do pay to win, and everyone was like, yeah, okay, sure. Asian MMORPG, no pay to win. We believe you. And then they released the cash shop, and it's like, these are all cosmetic items, and you're like, yeah, what did we tell you? There's no pay to win. You just look cool. Just you pay to look even more cool.
That's pretty awesome.
So,
I wish more companies would do that. More game studios. Well, cool. Phoenix, do you have
anybody out
anything
there
extra?
plays Swords of Legends, hit me up.
All right. Well, that's what we played this week. So with that, I guess we'll get into our short attention news.
Bruno looks weird.
He does look weird. Question is, does he sound weird?
I don't think I sound weird. Do I
guess he
sound
always
weird?
sounds weird.
Oh no.
Oh no. He may have disappeared.
Hold on.
He's back.
He's fine.
Well, that was fun. All
So
of my graphics drivers just crashed.
sick.
Computers suck.
So short attention news.
Oh, well, this is difficult.
I actually love what's happening right now.
So I'll actually.
This is so bad.
All the mics.
I'll.
Okay, so our first story, based on what I remember. Oh my goodness, everything's broken.
Speaking of video cards,
Gundam video card goes far, far away. So there's a Gundam themed 3080 graphics card that was released that I very much actually wanted. It's like a limited edition made 3080 GPU. And yeah, some people posted that they're using it to mine Bitcoin because the world is an awful place. The worst kind of place, filled with terrible humans that care nothing for the sanctity of Gundam. And to those people, I hope they catch fire and your Bitcoin wallet gets deleted. You terrible, terrible humans. May all of your computers rest in pieces at the bottom of the fiery hellscape that is the destroyed building that you house them in.
Oh my god.
But don't die. I don't want you to die. I just want you to suffer by watching the destruction that is the warehouse you Bitcoin farmed in. You bastards.
says the guy who has a whole thing of Gundam sitting behind him in a shelf, all built.
That's why I said it.
That's
I'm
why I said
surprised
it.
you didn't use the last 8
I
seconds.
loved that.
Yeah, me too.
All right. The Dutch Queen of the Dutch Queen Maxima. I may be mispronouncing her name. Teamed up with a small robot. I'm quoting straight from the article to unveil the steel 3D printed pedestrian bridge that goes over a canal to the red light district, or it's in the heart of the red light district. It's a pretty amazing looking bridge. If you guys want to check it out, I love 3D printed stuff. It was printed with this brand new technique or newish technique called wire and arc additive manufacturing. So it combines the welding and robotics together. It's a 6-ton bridge, and they're going to be using sensors to see how the bridge is keeping up. But the old bridge is currently in the process of being renovated. So that's why they replaced the bridge. So it didn't say whether or not this bridge would eventually be permanent, but they wanted to bring Amsterdam's already so amazing and beautiful, and art is such a huge part of that culture. They wanted to bring some art to the red light district and hopefully like revamp the red light district as well.
All right. So, fans of Aliens, we've talked about the new game that's going to be coming out. It's a 3-person co-op game called Aliens Fireteam. So they actually had a group of guys from GameSpot that actually were able to test it, and they gave some interesting points of what they found. Overall, the review of their gameplay they did for a few missions was actually fairly well. They said parts of the game feel very similar to like a Left 4 Dead, where there's hordes of aliens coming and you have to kind of just bunker down and really just either get ambushed at times or even try to prepare an ambush and all those things like that. So it is, like I said, 3 players. So there's actually 3 different classes from what they could find. There's a gunner, there's a demolition, and there's technicians. The gunners are very much sort of like the character Hicks. Demolitions can do smart guns. The technicians also do close quarter combat. And there's also, like I said, multiple missions at this point and multiple guns and different things like that. So far, the main feel of the game does capture the actual 1986 film Aliens, like the ones with the actual Colonial Marines. So far, so good.
So way back in the day was a little old game called Shadow of Mordor, which outside of the fact that it had a license of Lord of the Rings would probably have faded into obscurity if it weren't for the fascinating little system that it called the Nemesis system, where it kept track of people you defeated and brought them back to be a nemesis, that they kept showing up and sometimes more battle damaged. Interestingly enough, everybody said, oh, all these games, you're going to use the Nemesis system. This is going to be awesome. You like all the pundits and then no developers used it. No developers cribbed off of it or used similar to that until now. Grid Legends is coming out from Codemasters and of course is from EA. And they're actually going to be using the Nemesis system for your races. Grid being a racing game that has rally racing and F1 racing and E1 racing and all these different types of racing. And they said the Nemesis system is going to bring back rivals. And when you race them, they'll even do things like bump you off the road. So should be interesting when that comes out.
Kelly's on mute.
Thank you. Netflix is going to have a live action Pokemon series. It's going to be kind of they're trying to replicate the 2019 Ryan Reynolds Pokemon movie Detective Pikachu. Should look really cool. Actually,
watch that with you, Bruno.
Super stoked. Yeah. Or Bruno's wife.
Yeah. It was great because we watched it after having bottomless mimosas.
I thought you were saying we should watch it with Bruno. Yeah. So the game is still in very early, or not game, the series still in very early development. So no cast has been, commented on, anything like that. So we'll see not even a start date.
We'll see. Sounds cool though.
Should be good though. Mm-hmm.
Fingers crossed. The last one was good. So
yeah.
Our next story actually comes from an article by PC Gamer, and it's with reference to D&D characters going into the future, and it actually covers a really interesting point in a broad way and in some way a lot of detail. But effectively, it's discussing the future D&D characters kind of being based off of, and I'm talking about like staple D&D characters like that you'll see returning through like future D&D officially released books coming and being created on Twitch live by the people actively playing Dungeons and Dragons on Twitch, as Brian shows us a stapler.
Wow.
Staple D&D.
If only the fact that you had the red stapler would I thought you were cool, but that's fine.
Well, I mean, they didn't actually produce the red stapler. Well, until years after the movie.
They still produced it.
Well, as a gimmick, yes. So, shocker of all shockers, Sony has sold 10 million PS5s. It is quite a number. It's faster than they have sold any other console pretty much to date. Not too shocking considering the gaming industry has been expanding. They do say that they're very happy that so many PS5s have reached households faster than any of the other previous consoles. We still have a lot of work ahead of us as the demand PS5 continues to outstrip supply. No word here on scalpers. Nope. They don't seem to understand who is getting most of their consoles first. But there continues to be a chip shortage, which is going to reduce the amount of supply. And I suspect that, we're going to continue to see this probably till near the end of 2022.
Yeah, they don't talk about the scalpers. They're just happy they sold a bunch of stuff.
All right. The EA's VP of brand is saying that the term gamer is outdated. She says the convergence of gaming and everything in culture means everyone is now a player. So and even people have been slowly not describing themselves as gamers. That was a quick one. Sorry.
I've been a player since college. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't had to have EA tell me that I was a player.
Set you up for that one.
Right, because that... Like, gamer was outdated when marketing
hate
first...
the player, hate the game, right?
In this case.
Yeah, we're all just nerds now. There you go.
Yeah.
Don't hate the player, hate the gamer is what that VP said.
Yeah. Terrible.
I mean, gamer was a marketing term. It was kind of outdated when it first came out. But what I liked about it is that us, the gamers, kind of took over the term and made it our own.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't want to hear from a marketing person that I'm no longer a gamer. That's just a bunch of bupkis. And like Mike said, we're already players.
Oh, my
At least
God.
those that have been playing GTA 5. Well, I mean, okay, so maybe I was in my youth, but
back in the day, before we were
back
married.
in the day. So PAX West is going to be happening around Labor Day. They're selling physical tickets. They're going out there. And this Kotaku article, and I'll just read you what it says. It says, PAX West backtracks and adopts stricter COVID-19 policies. This is interesting. Kind of think it's an article title. It's meant to garner attention. It's meant to grab your attention. Not quite correct. They said from the beginning that they may change things as things develop. And hey, let's be honest, they're not really the ones setting this. It's like the city says, hey, if you're going to have gatherings, we're going to have these regulations in place. And or the convention center itself has say in this. Usually they're the ones that are like, well, I mean, we've got to change this. That said, I totally understand the irritation that a lot of people have had. They're like, why didn't you tell us about this before, we bought tickets? Well, again, they couldn't, but totally understandable for people going, hey, does that mean for those of us that can't wear masks that we can get a refund? And that would, that makes sense. Yes, that should be allowed because normally these tickets aren't refundable. So that's pretty important. It is meant to be of that what they said for the stricter COVID-19 regulations or policies in this case is that you have to get access to the convention center, you have to either show proof of vaccination or a recent negative test, like within 3 to 5 days. So it's no joke. These are pretty strict. So I get why people are getting upset. I understand it. And it's just unfortunately the nature of how it is right now. So, I mean, we do what we can and we keep moving. And like, if we don't go this time, we go the time afterwards.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies that I'm seeing, especially with the Delta variant out there. Not to kind of hijack the whole COVID thing, because we've definitely, if you listen to us, you know how we feel. But yeah, with that, I've heard a lot of companies actually, kind of coming back out now saying like, we're requiring people to be vaccinated. Like we need proof or we need testing, which before they said they weren't going to do that. Like, no, we don't care about that. And now it's kind of like, no, we're going to do that. So it's good to see.
I particularly like the hedge fund owner that doesn't believe in getting vaccination, but he requires all of his employees working in his office to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
He works from home. He's fine.
All right, well, on to, I believe, our final story, our final short of the night, and it will be fairly short. It's about some U.S. states deciding that they're going to start banning computers that have too high of power consumption, essentially. There are new regulations being put in place that when enforced, would make it so that the sale of computer components or pre-built computers that do not meet the power consumption standards imposed by that state will not be allowed. Essentially, as of right now, it seems like most parts, power supply-wise, fall within the constraints that they're requesting. So they're efficient enough to function, because the initial rollout is when they're idle, they have to only consume X amount of power. However, it looks like if the article reads correctly and the information is correct, that this will eventually trickle on to the rest of the computer components. So certain computer components in conjunction with each other will have too much power draw, and they would also not be allowed in those states if it actually went to that extent. But we all know how these things go. It takes a long time for everything to get finalized in the first place. So there it is. Maybe the future will be pathetic, weak computers, or better efficiency in computer parts.
There you go.
I doubt either.
So this next part is our emails, but I'm checking right now. We don't have any emails. So with that, if you'd like to send us an email, you can send us one at goa@sassgaming.com.
How did we not have a sound prepared for that? We had a sound prepared for while he was looking for the emails, but we didn't have like a womp womp womp.
To be fair, that was actually the music for the game section that I forgot to play during the game section, so I just threw it in there for emails.
That's fine.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
So again, if you want to send us an email, goa@sassgaming.com. We'll read it out loud. Tell us what you're playing. Tell us, whatever. Send us pictures. I don't care. Send us whatever you want. I don't care. Or send us. Actually, we did have a photo recently, which if I was prepared, I'd show you. But we had a group of friends who sent us a picture showing us that they were watching us as like a live watch party at their house. So that was pretty neat. Thanks to you guys for checking that out. So if you guys want to do that too, feel free to send us a photo. We'll post it up on the show here. So so that is what got our attention this week. If you are,
Or he'll forget to.
that is what got our attention. If you are interested in checking us out live, we do this every Thursday on Twitch, where we broadcast the video portion of the podcast, and then at 9:00 on Thursdays. Typically, sometimes there's scheduling issues and stuff, we move it out, but typically Thursday nights at 9, we do take the video and put it up on YouTube afterwards. So if you're more of a YouTuber and want to just watch the video later on a playlist, feel free to do that as well. If you want to support us in more than just watching us somehow and want to subscribe to our Patreon, feel free to do that. We're on patreon.com/sassgaming, where you can find out all our clips. Some of the perks you get there from the Patreon is you get to get the podcast ad-free. You also get some content for our Discord. Potentially we're going to have some more content directly for you guys video-wise as it comes.
Name in the credits,
things like that. So feel free to do that. Check it out. But yeah, that's what we got us this week. And until next time, everybody be safe. Be out there. Delta's kind of kicking everybody's butt right now. Wear a mask. If you're if you're vaccinated or not, wear a mask. And let's try to get through this thing so we can get over it. So like COVID-19 can like finally disappear in like somewhere in 2022.
Yes, please. Get right
Cool.
with it.
You guys take care. Talk to you later. Peace.